Aloha kako. My name is Angela Coloretti McGough. I'm the counselor and coordinator at the Employment Prep Center. And today I'll be sharing this workshop, Building a Team with DISC on Zoom. Thank you to Guy Inaba and SOS Workshops for hosting us today. The services that we offer at the Employment Prep Center include job search, resume review, and practice interviews. We can set up individual appointments to do interviews or to get your resume and cover letter prepared. I also help host career events. This fall, 2025, we have our virtual career fair on Handshake, October 17th, 10 to 1. And I also host a number of workshops with Guy at the library. Here's the website. Please check out all of the career workshops we offer. In addition, I'm the chapter advisor to the National Society of Leadership and Success on our campus. We call it NSLS. So we know that teamwork makes a dream work. A work group is effective when its individual members work well together. So as a member of a team, there are career skills that you can develop so that you can work more effectively in a group. These, of course, are critical thinking, using technology, being a professional and acting with professionalism, and also having an understanding of equity and inclusion. In addition, the skills that we're going to be talking about today are communication, leadership, and teamwork. We're going to use the DISC assessment as one tool to help you in developing your leadership and communication skills. It's just one tool. There's so many tools out there. I like this one because it's a good place to start. It helps you to identify what your preferences are when you're in a workplace. And it also, if you do it with your team, creates common terms and understanding. One thing you should know is that I'm not a certified practitioner. There are certified practitioners of the DISC. I like to do this because it's an easy way to start and categorize working styles. But of course, there's a lot more that can be offered with the DISC. Another thing to remember is that your workplace culture is going to play a role in how your working style is expressed. This depends on an individual's level of control over their own work and also what the rewards are or the consequences are for how they behave. And finally, real people are blends. So we're not just one letter, one D person or one C person. We're actually a blend of all four. With that said, we're going to go through each of the individual DISC letters, and you're going to take an assessment to determine which one is most like you. Since you're online, we do have a PDF you can download. It's with a short link, bit.ly. So the website is https://bit.ly/ all capital DISCUH. Again, it's bit.ly/ all capital letters DISCUH. And the handout looks a lot like this image that you see below. There's 4 columns. And what you'll do is you're going to check off the word or phrase that describes you best in a work setting. There's 2 pages. So you want to make sure that you can complete both pages. And once you're complete, make sure that you got all your rows and then start counting the number of marks in each column. So you'll count the number of check marks you put in column 1 all the way through column 4. And then this is where we need to do a little bit of math. So make sure that all the numbers equal 36. If you have 37, you have 2 checks somewhere. So make sure that all of your marks are in each column and then they total 36. Every time I do a workshop, folks ask me, well, what if I'm both? So I would like for you to make some sort of a mark, put a check, an asterisk, maybe a circle, just so you remember that you were deciding between 2 or 3 of the answers. Now, once you take the assessment, you'll have a high number and a low number. And the high number is the working style that is most like you. So column 1 represents D, and that's a dominant working style. I is influential or interacting. S, which is the third column, stands for steady. And C in the fourth column stands for conscientious. Now, if you look up DISC online, sometimes you'll see different words for DIS and C, but they all are very similar in the words that they choose to describe these 4 working styles. I will refer to them as their letters, D, I, S, and C. Another goal of this workshop and other personality type workshops that I lead is that you're seeking to understand others. So while it is important for us to be self-aware, the reason why we take these workshops is to figure out how we can work effectively with others. And that means we need to seek first to understand where other people are coming from. So the number that you have the lowest of, let's say you have a 4 on one of the letters, that's the one you need to pay attention the most to because that is your least likely working style. So with that in mind, let's go through each of the letters. The D working style is dominant. This is your natural leader. You can tell that they are a dominant personality because they are very direct in their communication. They can make decisions very quickly. They're decisive and they're firm. Folks that are have a D working style are very focused on results. So because of that, they might not make enough time for people who need time to adjust to change. They also may be perceived as communicating in a too blunt manner. So when you're working with a D personality type, if this was one of your lower numbers, here are some things that you can do. The first thing is to have a thick skin, and this actually is something I had to learn as a young professional working with a D personality type. I told her specifically I couldn't separate her words from her tone. And so although she was trying to give me some feedback, I wasn't able to hear it because I didn't have the skills to get beyond the way she was delivering the message. So it helps to have a thick skin and not take whatever is being said personally because they may not be trying to offend you. They're just very direct. When you're addressing someone who has this personality type, you need to be clear and brief because they're always on the go. So you also will need to be solution-oriented, goal-oriented, and in action. In other words, you need to be clear about what it is that you want to do and have a solution and be ready to move. The next working style is I, influential, and this is a natural communicator. So the D personality type that I just talked about, that's typically when we think of a CEO, we might think of someone who has a D personality type, but also an I influential personality type comes to mind because they are the person that tells the organization's story. They're friendly and expressive, oftentimes creative, and they're really natural at communicating. So they tend to be a leader as well in the front of the company or organization. They tend to make decisions based on emotions and also might be easily distracted. So the I personality enjoys having new things all the time. And so that comes with being creative. Sometimes it's difficult to have them focus. So if you are working with an I personality type, the first thing you should know is that they want to just kind of chat and get social, a little bit social before getting down to business. So you want to allow for that, especially if that's not your personality type. You can rely on an I personality type to bring fresh ideas to you, to constantly be able to brainstorm, to be creative. However, in a work setting, it's best if you pair them up with someone who can take those ideas to completion. So this is an effective way to work with an I personality type in a team. The S working style stands for steady. These are naturally supportive coworkers. They are gentle. They're known to be very loyal to the organization, to people, and also accommodating. So they are very focused on other people and do not like conflict at all. So one of the concerns with an S personality is that they may not make time for themselves or listen to their own needs because of their focus on others. Additionally, they prefer stability. Their type is called steady. So when there's changes that need to be made, they may take a little bit longer to adjust. So when you're working with an S personality type, you want to build Pilina. So this is the person that you want to ask questions about because they typically won't offer up information about themselves. And when they do, you want to make sure you listen. You want to allow them to help build the organization's legacy. So anything that your organization does every year, they will be able to help build on that and maintain that history and legacy. Also, if there are changes that are happening, that's where your patience needs to come in because this is one of the personality types that takes a little bit longer to change. The C working style is conscientious. Folks that have this working style tend to be reserved, more introverted. They're also matter of fact. So when they speak, they're speaking from a data-driven perspective. They enjoy putting systems in place. So they enjoy taking something that maybe isn't very organized and organizing it so that it has a good workflow. But they're also naturally skeptical, so may not initially jump on board to something, and also may not make time to socialize. So unlike we saw the I and the S, the C may not make that time. Additionally, a C working style is very conscientious, so they may end up being a perfectionist, and because of that, might not meet deadlines. So when you're working with a C personality type, you want to rely on them to be your fact checker. These are the folks that want to get it right. When you're working with them, you need to be knowledgeable and prepared, and your work needs to be of high quality. Also, you want to allow them to dive into the process, but they will not be the ones to quickly come to a solution. So be patient with that process, and perhaps you want to partner them as well with someone who can draw all the evidence they gather and come to a solution. So in summary, let's say that we're taking a road trip. We're gonna, grab these 4 people and we're gonna jump in a car and get together and travel somewhere. So what do you think each personality type would do or bring? Yes, the D is the driver. They are in control of the situation, making the decisions. I personality type would be the entertainment. They're going to bring the music, the Spotify list. They may have even made a list just for this particular trip. They're the entertainment. S, taking care of other people, that's your snack master. This is the person that has everything packed and ready to go. And of course, the C personality type has the map. They know where you're going. They have either GPS or some sort of plan. And everyone is satisfied with their roles. So in order to build a great team, it's important to seek first to understand the other person and accept where you are. So if you are more likely to be dominant, that's fine. That's fine. But you are striving for balance. So you're going to play to other people's strengths where you might not stop to examine something. Maybe you're going to rely on your C personality type to do that for you. If you need someone who's going to be enthusiastic and communicate, that's going to be your I personality type. If you need someone who is going to, maintain your organization's long-term longevity and legacy, that's going to be your S. So you always want to strive for balance and play to everybody else's strengths. That's the end of the workshop. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me and take this evaluation. And thank you again to the SOS Workshops for hosting us. Here's my contact info, and I look forward to meeting you in person.